He was unlettered.
He was unlettered.
How come he became that brilliant?
Yes, I think it was, I've forgotten I think it was, what's the name of this Dada Kwada musician from Ilorin, who said, Mo ti mọgbọ́n orí mi bèmi náà kàwé o. Meaning that I may not be lettered, but I am also, I have wisdom. And that if you place being lettered side by side native wisdom, you should pick native wisdom. Ayinla Omowura was highly imbued with native wisdom. In his songs, you will see alliteration in literature, you see metaphor, you see wide usage of symphony in music and synchrony. His songs synchronize, the lyrics synchronize, and at the end of the day, even though when he attempted to speak English, there were areas where he attempted to speak English. You see a man who was down there in terms of being lettered. However, the knowledge that oozed out of his songs, you cannot put them down. For instance, there was a place where he was saying, Agbenka shuton daloko koko nkara emo iya yin fe suru guyanri awon baba yin fe suru guyanri. Was saying that look, the farmer, after he was checking his barn, his harvest, and had yams, a collection of yams, and then cocoyam, tiny cocoyam, was attempting to say that they wanted to muzzle the big, yam. That did your forefathers, have they ever used, we call it a suru. It's a kind of yam. What's the name
Cocoyam.
It's not cocoyam.
Okay, bitter yam.
Bitter yam.
Yeah.
That have your forefathers used bitter yam? Have they pounded yam with bitter yam before? You could see depth. And in virtually all the songs of Ayinla Omowura.
That brings us to this point. What is really education? If an
Exactly.
unlettered man could be philosophical
Yes.
in his music, and lettered men borrowed from the proverbs,
Yes.
is lyrical consciousness.
Yes,
So
lyrical
then
consciousness.
what is education?
Exactly. And in fact, if you take your time to listen to Ayinla Omowura, you will know that you agree with the song I sang earlier, which says that, look, native wisdom, of course, if you have native wisdom, you'll be philosophical. Your outlook, your understanding of the world will be deeper than merely going to school. When you read, several times I've written journal articles from most of the songs of Ayinla Omowura. There was a particular one I wrote where he was talking about, where he said that ẹ̀sìn alátọ̀sí kò sí lọ́wọ́ òkóbó. And so I began to break that statement down. I mean, he was saying that, look, if you are a man who is impotent, that if you place a man who is impotent side by side somebody who had been infected with gonorrhea, at some point, the two of them, the society frowned at the two afflictions. Somebody was impotent and somebody who also had an affliction of gonorrhea. He now said, look, the man who is afflicted by gonorrhea cannot mock, the man who is impotent cannot mock the man who has gonorrhea, because it is because the man was virile. That was why he could have gonorrhea. But you, who was impotent, who was not virile, and the remedy to your lack of virility was not inside. So you cannot afford to abuse the man or scorn the man who had gonorrhea. So you had, such huge philosophies, folklore, which you can harvest from Ayinla Omowura's music.
So can we conclude now that he was educated?
I think he was educated. I wouldn't say he wasn't educated.
Because for a researcher like Dr. Adedayo to say, I want to research on this man,
yes,
that speaks volume.
He was a phenomenon. He was not only a musical phenomenon. There were, for instance, now people have said, why didn't you, for instance, research on somebody like Fatai Olowonyo? Fatai Olowonyo's lyrics were very danceable. He was also singing Apala. And he was the first person, if I can remember, who infused guitar into Apala. Very danceable. He was also very, but you couldn't compare the depth of knowledge on parade in Ayinla Omowura to any other musician of his time. And that perhaps is why his was just the only, he was the only, at least for now, musician of that period who we have had people do research into their lives. It's because he was phenomenal.